Good morning. I mean, that was kind of a cool view. All of that stuff was on the ground and I had to put it up to wash and clean my carpet. About to get to work, and then I finished my belief plan yesterday. So very happy about that. It doesn't feel finished, and she says that it's never finished. It's always like a work in progress. I feel still very odd, some anger this morning. I don't know, honestly, I feel like it's just a huge trying to figure out how to navigate all of this. Don't have much to say yet. I feel like it's a lot day, so let's get to work, I guess. I had really bad dreams again too. Not the best start to the day, but here we go. Let's get to work. Bye. Hello. My hair is having a bad hair day again. I guess I'm gonna go have lunch. I don't know. I should have like a decent hour lunch. Why are you blurring my face? Ooh, I could talk like this. Well, I went through a lot of emotions this morning. I woke up just, I don't even know, haunted, I guess, was the emotion I felt by my dreams. I don't remember right now what my dreams were, but they're not good. I have definitely been getting a lot of apocalyptic dreams about, I guess, what's going on. The other thing, became very angry, hurt. The warrior was starting to come out a little bit, like justice warrior, then pity warrior. I think that was okay. Calm that down. We'll start work. I've been watching Blackish. Now I'm past that episode, but at that time this morning, it was the episode where she has to give birth. I literally had a little breakdown like you see in the movies where I was just like crying and just feeling like my life was over, because between 25 and like 32, maybe 27 and 32, I had a good chunk of years where I didn't even want to have kids. But before that, I wanted to have kids at 18, and I think that's why at 27 I was like, well, this is not happening, so I don't even have a relationship. I don't even see a relationship. I wanted actually to adopt almost more than having my own kids. I felt very guilty to have my own kids. And I didn't really have that like physical instinct of wanting mine. Like I really could care less. I wanted more to like save other kids than have my own. I just felt I was so selfish. But I wanted to find my partner and then have kids around 18. So then I switched it. I was like, okay, until like 25. So around 25, like, well, this is not really happening, is it? I didn't have the state of mind that I have now. I just felt like, well, this is all that is. And when I say the state of mind that I have now, I really feel like even in this day and age where we're all quarantined, or we should be, I still have some positive, just not even positive, it's just like this very realistic feeling of I can go have a life. At that time, I didn't feel that way. Yeah, between 25, 27 to 32, I was like, nah, I really didn't want kids. Like, I really didn't. Relationship, didn't really want that. I think I mentioned in the other video, I was very closed off, kind of a robot. I wanted relationships, but I didn't feel it, it didn't come from my heart. It came from, I want to try this out, this looks fun, I want to do what I see other people do. It wasn't like, oh, I want to be in love, or I didn't feel love anymore, and all that stuff. So then 32, before Pine Tree came along, I was like, you know what, I'm finally ready to actually find a good guy, be treated well, not deal with like these little boys who don't know what they want. They are intrigued by me or attracted to me for whatever reason. That's all they want. They don't actually like me, my person, who I am. They just want to not even get something physical from me, because I wasn't going to go there, but that, or they just want to just like an accomplishment, like, oh, I got her attention. Going back again to romantic comedies of the 90s where, it's all a bet, and it's not necessarily a bet with other people, but with themselves. And I honestly 100% thought that Pine Tree had made a bet like that with the previous guy. I'm not kidding you. It seems kind of ridiculous now. Maybe it was that way. Who knows? I'm finding out very many different things that I'm like, nah, it's not. And then it is. Anyways, but I definitely, I wasn't thinking about kids still at all. But I was definitely like, you know what? I'm ready to be centered in my life and to have love in my life. And then he popped up and I was like, I don't trust that you actually are on the same wavelength. But he insisted, so I'm like, okay. And then I fell. Half a year after that or whatever, I started feeling that want to have my own kids. It's so crazy. Anyways, the thing with that is that I don't want to just have kids. You know, I want it to be with my partner. The same thing with, this will sound so ridiculous to some people, but the same thing that I think of when I think of YouTube and promoting it. Like, I want to enjoy that video and promoting that video. I don't want to skip through it. I don't want to just promote it like off the side of my eyes. I don't think that's a thing. I want to actually enjoy, be present when I post that post, you know, and I'm not sure why I'm not as present anymore for the past year. Last year, I realized I had like deep depression, just the state that I was in, just watching this movie now with postpartum depression. I didn't give birth, so it wasn't postpartum, but depression is, you know, depression. It was very, very difficult year last year. Ironically, the year before that was better. Why are you now not blue? I was going to not buy you. I was going to buy the new you. And then I'm like, oh, but it's only in black. There's no white version or any other color. Then the other thing is, you're coming from New York, beach photo. I don't want the virus. But if I order it now, I can leave it. The virus can die in like 2 weeks, right? So I think I'm gonna do that after we're done here. The heaviness is when you don't go through that with the love of your life. You're alone in that. That's my take at it right now. Maybe in a year I'll tell you how amazing life is. Just like you can't replace time. I was like having a little breakdown and feeling like, well, my life is over. That's great. Anyways, I'm gonna go eat, I guess. I don't know. I will talk to you later. Bye. One more thing is, like, I find it very aggravating when people will use anything against you just to evade themselves facing something inside of themselves. Because I definitely have heard so much of like, oh, at this age, as a woman or whatever, this for the past 4 years, like, you want to just have kids and you need to go find someone who is ready to have kids. It's like, no, first of all, don't shame me for that if that's the case. Second of all, that's literally not the point to just like pop something out. The point is to have that loving partnership from which you get to enjoy that part of life. It's not about just breeding. And it can be made like that by guys a lot, shaming women into actually even not wanting to have kids. Like, oh no, I'm not someone who wants that, you know, because that's not okay. Because they make it sound like that's the only thing that you want from them, which is not at all the case, except sometimes it is. But I think that's rare, very rare compared to how many people make it sound that way. And yeah. Anyways, okay, go. Bye. Hello. I just had a meeting, my first meeting with GoToMeeting. I don't really know what to call him. Like our ads agency sort of thing. I don't know, whatever. About our ads and stuff. And it was really nice. Also, he informed me that apparently there was this big dance party, DJ dance party in the world. Or I don't know, maybe in the US. I missed that. That sounds so awesome. Like on virtual dance party. Everyone in their room or whatever. That sounds so cool. Just wanted to talk about that. I also need to fix my face today. This will be another short vlog, and I don't know if I can get to any of these vlogs today, but let's get back to like work. Cool. Bye. Hi. Your focus is kind of off. I'm waiting for my life coaching appointment. Feels odd because I feel like I haven't done my thing because I already got it done last night. It's a tough day in the house today. Tensions are rising. It's not that unusual really, but just a little bit. I have some stuff to talk about, but I'll wait until afterwards, I think. Maybe I should do it now. Let's see, 10 minutes. Hopefully, woo! This way I'm hopefully going to be back inside at that point. Like after we're done with the life coaching appointment, the more I stay here, I feel like sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. I don't know if I want to do it this way. Looks kind of cute, right?
Maybe it looks messy. I don't know. We'll go with it. But I had to work on something today that made me really reflect on everything that's going on in the world and how things are viewed and how people have this very like blinders on kind of view on life and on everything that they do. So this whole thing of made in your own country, I admit that I haven't really looked too much into the research into the things. However, globalization to me, it's a lot of bad things that can come with it, but there's a lot of bad things that can come with non-globalization as well. One of the things that we see now, this thing has nothing to do with economic globalization or anything. People travel, they like to go on vacations, they like to see new places, even just as a tourist. We are linked no matter what. Besides the fact that we're all human and we sort of somehow keep trying to deny that to a fault. So this whole thing of like made in whatever country you are from, to me, it really like hurts my soul, especially in a time where we are shown how much we have to stand together, and yet so many countries, so many people, not even governments, but people themselves are trying to keep still closed off, even though this has no boundaries and you can't close a physical door. Yes, you can stay indoors, stay away from people, etc. There's like this weird duality to it. However, the idea is that you have to learn from others' mistakes, learn from others' triumphs, as well as collaborate with each other, and that's the only way this can be beat. And this would have been beaten a long time ago. Not a long time ago, because it hasn't been that long, but it would have been so much less impactful than it is now if people would have collaborated, if the whole world and the whole globe would have collaborated. So this idea of, oh, we're proud because we're made locally, that's wonderful. If you can make things locally, wonderful, but at the expense of closing yourself off from the outside and becoming like this island, no, that's not something you should be proud of. You can't be proud of not being human. That to me just blows my mind. That really affected me today. I guess that didn't take that long to explain. It's basically like segregation in a way. You know, one of the things that I said to myself as the feelings arose, started rising in a time where it's been shown, or it's being shown, that if we don't learn and cooperate with each other around the world, with all of us around the world, we are the ones losing. I think Governor Cuomo from New York State, he said it kind of the same way, but he said it to the state, and a lot of countries say it to their country. But the thing is, like, if you watch other countries deal with it, you can learn from it. That's why the World Health Organization had a nicer view of it, because it saw the whole world, not just its own country, because it doesn't have a country. And so the idea of like, we have to stick together, because if we don't stick together, we lose. And if we don't look at what other people have done that worked and what other people have done that didn't work. For example, I heard that the US refused refused tests, and like, no, we'll do it ourselves, made in the USA and all this stuff. Well, we could have been a lot better off now if we would have done that earlier. So things like that, like, where are your loyalties? Are your loyalties to your survival and like being human and your humans? Or are your loyalties just this like made up political power move? I think a lot of people, it just gets to me. A lot of people just have these blinders, the self-fulfilling prophecy, just looking to see only what would prove their point and their agenda. That's why, like, a used to be friend, I told her, you know, like, you are only about agendas. And she's like, yeah, I have an agenda. But she did not understand the difference between having an agenda and having a mission, or having a purpose and having a passion and wanting to change the world, trying to change the world, doing your best to change the world for the better. Agenda to me is when you're calculative, and all that matters is how you win. It's not how the whole world wins. We are not special as Americans, as Romanians, as Italians, as South Africans, as Mongolians. No matter what country we're in or from, we are not, at the end of the day, anything special than any other human and country and nation. Like a lot of that goes with racism oftentimes, but it goes so beyond racism. I think racism comes from that same faultiness in our humanity of tribe versus tribe. We're beyond that, and the sooner we get that, the better all humanity will be. We'll all start winning at that point. But until we get that through our heads, we'll all lose. This one is a pretty big indicator of how we lose literally lives, because we are not adapting to evolving as human beings, that we're all in this together and we can benefit, and we're stronger together than against each other. Like it doesn't it blow your mind for just a second? Think about this. We're all human. If you meet someone from, let's say, France or Burkina Faso. I had a friend from Burkina Faso. Well, a coworker, a classmate. You see, they're humans. They have limbs, they have fingers, the same things. They have eyes, nose, mouth, whatever. Skin color may differ, but it's like, you can see that there's all sorts of skin colors. The human body is the same. We're human. The thoughts, the feelings, the pains, the necessity to survive, all of that is the same. So doesn't it like really boggle your mind? Why are we still fighting against each other? Why do we think that the French are worse than us or better than us? Go close to your own community as far as like racism itself. That should blow your mind on its own. But go even beyond that. If you go, like, why would you see a Korean person different than you? Like, it just doesn't make sense. They look just slightly different sometimes, but sometimes they don't look at all different, and yet we still have this like, no, we're better, we're different, we're special, it's us versus them, and it's just crazy. I'm picking on France for some reason, but you know, that's a pretty neutral country to the US. I don't know. Why should we pride ourselves that their economy is doing worse than ours? Or vice versa? Why should we pity ourselves or get angry that our economy is worse than theirs? It makes no sense. In the big scheme of things, we're all living and we get born, we live, we die. Nothing's different. All of this is seriously made up. This is not a necessity. This is not how it needs to be or should be in the world. There's nothing that says this is not a law of nature. This is not like gravity. You know, these power games are not gravity. So it just... that's where I'm coming from, even with this made in whatever sticker that I had to put on our website. And it's like, you know, first of all, you're alienating people in your own country that will get offended by that. And some people don't understand the different connotation that can have, especially now. Like yesterday, I heard that 3M is being pressured by the US to refuse shipping masks to other countries that rely on them as their sole provider of masks in favor of the US. Why is the US different? I'm sorry. I love being here. I like the US. This is not against the US. If Romania would do the same thing, and it does sometimes, like they're the center of the universe, I say the same thing. That's ridiculous. You are not better. Romanians are nothing special. And they think they're special all the time. Every single country, wherever you go, they'll think they're the best in the world. They think that civilization started with them. This is crazy. This is crazy. Why does it need to be like that? Why can't we all just be humans? And it really bugs me. But like the 3M thing, it hurt so bad to hear that. I don't know if that was the CEO. I believe it was the CEO of 3M. You could hear in that person's words, in that person's intonation, the way that words were barely coming out. They were not okay with that. When a company is not okay with that, it's not just for profits. It's for freaking, like, we're in all of these countries and we're doing services for these countries. We are responsible for them just as, like, equally. No country is better than others. I could hear that in his voice, that he was not okay with what he was being asked. That's great. Anyways, on the other hand, this dynamic that's very interesting in families, this is where my issue with people trying to control their image and giving fakeness to the world about themselves, you know, like putting on clothes, whatever, making themselves look differently just so they are accepted or loved or whatever. But families often think more of what they're perceived. Excuse me, so I mean less to you than how it appears. Like, you care less about, first of all, about owning up to what you did. Secondly, about how your like family member feels and, you know, is experiencing and whatever is happening with them, with me. You care less about that. Yeah, you don't care about how it affects me, what you just did, or like working that out. You care more about how it looks. Yeah, I'm not kind of, I guess, ashamed ashamed or afraid to, I wouldn't say argue, you know, like I don't appreciate, I would have discussions maybe as heated as this, usually much less heated than this. I would just present something. I was presenting, hey, this is happening, this is my perception of this, let me know your side, and that would be labeled as argument. Yeah, I don't know how better to deal with that than what I've been doing, which is trying to figure out how to deal with it. But I have to go.
I don't see Shane Doru in your contacts. Perhaps you meant one of these.
Okay, no. What the heck? Have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi. Okay, so I got off Zoom. We tried Zoom. I think Zoom worked better. Just finished my life coaching appointment. I have the hiccups. Not hiccups, just random sort of hiccups. Oh. Anyways. And I need to get, this is what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to download this book that she gave me last week, pull out my Artist of Life book again. But even beyond that, I kind of want, I think she had a weekly one as well. I might check out to see, yeah, if not, I can make my own maybe, because she's like, okay, this past week was an odd week. What is this week going to be? And I said, I don't believe it right now. I have to find a way to believe it, but I was looking at like positive words on my belief plan and I'm like, a happy week? So we settled on that. It's going to be a happy week. We talked a lot more about this like connection of thoughts leading to action, leading to results. Like, what are your thoughts that will make you act a certain way, that will get you a certain thing in life? It is so clear when you do it and when you watch it, it works. And it is that way. I definitely have seen how thoughts get you what you think. When you assume something bad about that other person, they get you that something bad, not because they're like stubborn, like, oh, you want bad, I'll give you bad, but because they feel something. Like, I have thought a lot about trust lately because it's such a fascinating, mysterious, but not so mysterious, but very, very, very powerful thing between people. When you don't trust someone, or people, like at work it happened, feel mistrusted, usually you are not happy about that and you don't act nice and you lash out. You're not the best version of yourself. Sometimes it's conscious, sometimes it's subconscious, but I've definitely noticed even today when I had something, like I felt the little emotions bubbling up from thoughts that I wasn't even really aware of, or they were like flickers of a second, but the feeling stayed. My butt is burning. But then one thing that I've wanted to ask for so long, for someone to tell me, well, if your thoughts create your actions and create your results, hence your thoughts create your results. Your thoughts create what relationship you have with someone, or what job or what dynamic you have at work. Your thoughts create what you have in life, etc. Okay, well, with what you have in life is one thing because they're inanimate objects. However, when you're talking about a person or people, they have their own thing. So my fear has always been, what if I have the best assumptions of this person, they end up to be really crappy people? Don't tell me that everyone that you're like, oh my gosh, you're amazing, you're perfect, will actually be amazing and perfect. Like, that happens. I think a lot of times it is very connected, and sometimes you don't see the connection because it's so underlying, it's so subconscious of you that you're doing that and you're putting those thoughts out there because you show up differently. I'm just gonna be like really vulnerable and put it out there. Yeah, I've never been I never thought I could ever be jealous or like possess anyone. But when it comes to thinking how I act with my friends and how it hurts me when they have other friends, or how it hurts me when they have better things to do than hang out with me, yeah. And so, like, the cycle that happens then is I hate myself because all of a sudden I'm someone that I don't recognize myself to be, being a needy person, a clingy person, a possessive person, a jealous person, etc., etc., etc. And then that in itself, on top of those actions, those thoughts, those things that I put out there and I become, on top of that, I feel bad about being those, which makes me feel like, well, I'm a crappy person. Who would love me? Who would want to spend time with me? And so I'm just basically telling them, just go away at that point. So even though I'm very aware of doing this and how people do this, it is very difficult when that moment strikes you and you feel hurt or you feel like you need to push someone away. You're having a bad day and then you're like, oh, I wish I could lean on so and so, and then the next fraction of a second you think, well, they wouldn't want me to lean on them anyways, and then you get mad at them because you think that they don't want you to lean on them, but they didn't even get a chance to tell you that. They might have not said that, or they might have said, well, I can't right now, but I can talk to you in like an hour, or I can talk to you tomorrow. And then you're like, well, why? What's better? You know, they have someone else they're talking to. And I'm telling you this like for real, as a friend, as whatever we are, I don't know what we are, that applies as much to my friendships as my relationships. And when I say plural, it's really not that plural, because I don't have that many friends and I don't really care that much about relationships. The only relationship I cared about was this one. So yeah, yeah, there you go. It's interesting, definitely interesting. Yeah. But to go back, because I don't think I finished, yeah, some people will do bad things to you, use you, etc., whatever, or just do bad things that affect you badly. And just because you're compassionate and nice to them, etc., doesn't mean that they're not going to. My only hope is that in that case, being compassionate and in love, not in love like romantic romance thing, but like in the action of love, in the state of love. Not that it would make me immune to getting hurt, but sort of. Like, it would sort of be a nice buffer at least, you know? It's kind of like having a coat in winter. You're still cold, but imagine not having a coat and going like sleeveless in winter, you know? Something like that. I'll tell you one thing that I noticed when I've been vulnerable like that, and I've been compassionate, and I've been in love instead of in fear, I will tell you that the results were always good. Whether or not I was rejected, they were still good. I wasn't as hurt to be rejected in the state of love than I was in the state of fear. When you're in the state of fear, the hurt, the rejection hurts so much more. It can sound very superficial. I don't mean it that way, but I don't know how else to say it right now. Anyways, look at me not able to make these like any type of short. I'm definitely, and my life and everything is definitely a work in progress. That's all I know right now. But it is progressing a lot. And honestly, the moment it started progressing, or again, progressing, was when I decided to be in a state of love as opposed to anything else. To be in the state of vulnerability. Hey, I'm so excited to see you. To be on here on YouTube and talk freely. The difference that where I'm at right now talking to you and where I was a week ago, I remember how much more uncomfortable I felt. I feel so natural talking to you right now. And that's definitely coming from progressing into that state. But that didn't start last week. That started in December. That started when I made the conscious choice, choosing to be in the state of love. And I will also mention that it was up and down. It was not a linear progression. It was like kind of like this more. But when you pull back and you see the whole picture, it is going that way. There's up and down over here, but it's all going upwards. It's all going better. We started talking today about how I'm afraid of going back into depression. I hate using that word because when you label it, it becomes almost like it's not really what it is. It becomes like a cut. You know, it becomes like something just almost you could like take it and dump it, or like take it and move it. But depression is kind of like all over. It doesn't have like, oh, if you fix this or if you think this, it encompasses everything. We started off talking about how I'm afraid to go back there to the point where I couldn't do this, and I just had this feeling that my life is over and just nothing matters. And I start to sound like a depression advertisement, because that's what they say, right? Nothing mattered in those commercials. Nothing mattered. I felt like nothing mattered. I didn't enjoy, you know, what I used to enjoy. And again, that it's kind of weird, because even to a depressed person, that doesn't sound quite accurate. That doesn't sound like me. Again, because depression is not a thing, and that's why I hate the word and the label, because it sounds like a thing, but it's such a state. It's kind of like love, but even love is not the thing that we call it. When you have that little label, it's just like so bad, you know, but it's so much bigger, not necessarily bigger in size, but just like complex. I don't know. Anyways, because you're also overheating, I'm actually going to like turn this down, off, whatever. We started off talking about that, and she said, I want you to not be afraid of being sad, meaning that you'll go back into that state. And also, emotions, feelings are fluid. They're meant to flow. They're meant to move. Emotions are moving, is I think what she said. I also thought of what Lily Singh would say still, but what she had said in her book, I think, and at that time when the book was released, of fearing that that depression would come back because she was having a sad day. I've definitely felt that now, like, oh crap, everything's like back to bad. What I mentioned earlier about the babies and stuff, like, my life is over, you know, because it's not going to be like it could have been. The warrior comes out and says, oh, you're just being fooled if you're thinking that, if you're thinking positively, basically, which is a crappy warrior. It's not really in your best interest, but it's trying to protect you. It's trying to protect me from getting fooled, from getting hurt. But then one thing, looking back, what if I would have seen, because I think we do this often, we see people as good people, but we don't really see them as good people. We see them, we don't believe them, or we believe them, but we don't see them. Like, it's this, I can't find the words right now, but you know, like, I think that person is a good person. They have to be a good person, but deep down, we have so much energy that we're trying to put into proving that they're not a good person, that they're actually dangerous to us, that they're actually our enemy. And trust me when I tell you, the whole time I've been very aware of how that's a falsity in a way, you know, it did not help. And you'll hear psychologists who are like, yeah, just because I'm a couples therapist doesn't mean that I have the best relationship. It's like, you know it, but to do it, it's definitely a challenge, even if you are an expert. And I'm no expert. You know, I'm just a little bit more aware of things. I've learned, I've read, I've been told, etc. I've been shown and I've observed, but it definitely is far from me being an expert. And even so, even experts aren't perfect. Last thing I want to say before you stop overheating, I mean, before you overheat already, which might be right now, I'm not going to be able to order you, because either way I wanted to, and they're like, well, we won't be open until the 17th and nothing will get shipped, but we'll take your money as soon as you place the order. I'm like, okay, I'll hold on to that. Maybe I actually need this money for other things, so cool, I'll chill. But I'm very upset and sad because you also have a microphone jack, and I was like, you know, I'll order it now and it'll stay in the garage or somewhere for 2 weeks, and, you know, make sure that it's sanitized. And so now I'm like pretty bummed about that. But that's not what I wanted to mention. I wanted to mention that I did start this laser hair removal thing. I think it's by Brown, but I have been using that not like I should, not consistently, but the times that I have noticed results, which is like pretty crazy. I usually wax, and for this I had to shave, which drives me crazy. I hate that I even say the word shave, just to make sure that I don't burn myself or whatever because of the hair, whatever, I don't know. So I was like afraid, like, if this doesn't work, then I would like regress to all my efforts in like so many years, dozens of years, not dozens, you know, a long time of waxing, and that actually has prevented hair growth in certain areas. Like, I have already patches of where hair doesn't grow because of waxing. So now I was like, this better work, and it is apparently working. So I was pretty excited to notice that today. Anyways, have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you later. Look at you, I'm so proud of you. Wow, 2 more minutes and you're not still heating. This looks kind of bad, worse in real life than on on camera. It is the passion fruit thing, passion flower thing. Okay, your temperature high. Cool. I'll talk to you later. Bye.